everyone. I hope you are well. I have a very special guest with me today, and that is the one and only Baiba Ziga. Hi, Baiba. How are you?
I'm very good, Jihan. How are you? Thank you so
I,
much for having me.
it is lovely to have you as well. So, Baiba, you are my go-to person when it comes to DEI because you are the expert when it comes to running large people, sustainability, and digital strategy programs across different cultures, different organizations. And you know how passionate I am about ESG, which stands for environmental, social impact, and governance. But what people really don't understand is how DEI is actually a crucial point when it comes to ESG. So, can you tell us a little bit of how ESG has DEI incorporated within it?
Yes, of course. Diversity, equity, and inclusion are integral to any business, any community, and nation. As different as we all are in terms of our social identities, such as age, gender, sexual orientation, race, and so on, there's a lot that unites us, which is our need to feel safe, provide for our families, be respected, heard, and belong. And that is what makes us humane. And those are our basic needs that are very universal and constant. However, the world that we have built and live in systematically excludes and leaves behind large groups of our fellow citizens. And that is something no one should be okay with or for moral reasons, as well as economic and well-being reasons. And hence, half of the United Nations 17 Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs, are DEI related, whether it's SDG number 4, ensuring inclusive and equitable education for everyone, whether it's SDG number 5, achieving gender equality, or number 8, promoting inclusive and sustainable employment for all. These SDGs are not just about developing countries. Marginalization and vulnerabilities are present in every country and business and are therefore important to be recognized and addressed.
Music to my ears. Music to my ears. Thank you for that. Okay, so we know that DEI is an integral part of the ESG and the SDGs, right? But if I am a startup or a scale up, as it matter of fact, how would you recommend that I start my DEI journey?
No matter how large or small, regardless of the industry, all companies can contribute to SDGs. As for startups and scale ups, it's essential that they are prepared to think broadly and inclusively. They have to make DEI and sustainability a part of their being. It has to be integrated in their R&D, their product build, in how they hire, promote, and manage their teams, in how they form partnerships, and how they communicate with their customers. The current global challenges range from climate to poverty, conflict, and inequality. And all of these are in need of solutions and represent a huge and growing opportunity for business innovation. And being at the very early stage of business is a blessing because you don't have to dismantle what's already been built. You can build your business model supporting processes and systems with equity and inclusion by design, which really is a blessing. And most large organizations will tell you that. I would say start by establishing who you are, what you stand for, and who are you here to serve. Is diversity of your customer base being represented in your own teams, in your leadership team? If you don't see that reflection, you are risking of creating products or services that do not serve everyone equally. And your products might even present barriers for some of your customers that you might not even be aware of. And that creates a risk of creating further inequities in society and missed revenue and scaling opportunities for your business. Number 2, I would say, is set targets. As you're setting your financial targets, make sure you also set sustainability and DEI targets. For example, representative leadership targets, and make these targets public, because that's when it becomes real and increases sense of accountability, because suddenly you're in a public space and you can't cut corners anymore or sweep things under the carpet, because now you have your customers, investors, and partners looking up at you and keeping you accountable also. And the third thing I would say is formalize processes, because informal processes, for instance, in recruiting, they introduce bias and inequities in hiring, promoting, and these facilitate groupthink and perpetuate inequalities in business. SDGs represent commitment to doing business responsibly and with integrity. Empowering people and ensuring inclusiveness and equality has to be achieved in a way that also promotes development and protects the environment. As Professor Colin Myers from Oxford University has perfectly put it, business purpose is to produce profitable solutions for the problems of people and planet, rather than profiting from creating problems for people and planet. And I truly believe that this should be at the very core and heart of every business.
I cannot disagree with that. Personally, everything you've said is resonating with me, especially as a founder who's growing my own team at the moment. So I'm very pleased with that. And I think one of the downfalls that we fall into is how do we communicate DEI? And specifically for a startup or a scale up. And for me personally, there are 7 lessons or 7 mistakes that I try to avoid. I just stay out of sometimes. And that is using the Bristol model. So my model is the Bristol model, meaning that the B is for business case. As startups, we always think that, yeah, we'll just see what others are doing and we'll do the same, without actually looking at our business case and understanding why do we need to communicate DEI and who would be our target audience to communicate this message. So the second one is reputation. We're very good at entering different awards, entering different and writing different blogs, just because we want to grow our reputation without actually thinking, what is the desired outcome that we want to achieve? Let's sort out our house first internally before we go externally. The third is intervention. We're very good at being reactive when it comes to DEI. And please tell me if you disagree with me. People tend to communicate DEI when there's a crisis happening. Let's say like the Me Too movement. Everyone is compelled to say something. But then why? You need to think, if I'm intervening, if I'm saying something right now, again, why am I doing so? Sense, as in common sense. It is a disaster to think that my common sense is equivalent to your common sense. And that's the downfall that we fall into when we're communicating. And this is why I always say, don't use common sense when you're communicating DEI. Test your message with your audience first before you get it out, because you'll be surprised how unpredictable it is. Time. We are very good at only communicating DEI in certain times. Let's say International Women's Day or Pride Month. Why? Why can't we do it through the year? Why can't we integrate it through our DNA and our normal message? Why do we, Baiba, you need to tell me this. Why do we need to have a tab in the intranet that says DEI? Why can't DEI and ESG just be incorporated into our day-to-day messaging? Then comes one size fits all. One size doesn't fit all. So please, and you said it actually, I remember you saying it in one of your blogs, when you're communicating a DEI message, it won't land in one region as similar to the next region, to the other region. So if you are saying a DEI message, the way it would be resonated in the Middle East would be completely different than it would be resonated in the EU, for example. So be mindful. Your DEI needs to be targeted towards your audience and their culture. Last but not least is the leadership. People tend, and I was guilty of it, I have to admit. We used to focus on the senior leadership teams when it comes to communicating DEI. They're the ultimate North Star. I agree, they are, but that's not sustainable, because actually the people who actually hold the key to your culture is the level 3 and level 4 of your organization. And this is why don't just depend on DEI being run from the top, but it also needs to be run from the bottom up. Baiba, thank you so much for this. And you know what? You've just made my day. I'm so happy that we're aligned when it comes to DEI and how it integrates with ESG. Is there anything else you'd like to leave our audiences with?
Probably add in Bristol plus A. And for the A, I would say accountability. If you put something out there, your black squares during Black Tuesday, you need to know that you'll be kept accountable for them at some point. So accountability, big A, needs to be part of that as well.
Love it. Love it. Thank you for that, Baiba. Thank you so much. And again, we can't thank you enough. Take care.
Thank you for having me.